All right, breaking this morning on this Saturday, July 5th, we now have Tropical Storm Chantal off of the southeast coast, expected to move very close to the low country of South Carolina near Charleston, off to the north and northwest, and then eventually curve off to the northeast. So in this video today, we're going to look at the long-range outlook too, not just what's happening in the tropics, because this is some breaking weather here on this Saturday. We've been talking about this possibility now for a week or so, maybe even more. Look at all the sinking air, though, on the west side of our tropical system, up across the Appalachians from North Georgia, back into even parts of the Ohio Valley as high pressure sort of wedges in on the north side of this. So a lot of sinking air back here. That is creating a lot of clear skies and some pretty nice conditions, too. Dew points have dropped significantly across this area, and it's dry all the way into the south, too. All right, maximum sustained winds as of this morning, 8 a.m., we now have Chantal, 40 miles an hour, so not a strong storm, expected to meander slowly to the north, making landfall late tonight into early Sunday morning, somewhere close to South Carolina, the South Carolina coast, maybe near Charleston. Areas impacted will include the Grand Strand all the way north into parts of North Carolina. Tropical storm warnings out here, further to the south. Tropical storm watches, but the Grand Strand is going to get hit with some strong winds, and there's going to be a lot of rain with this storm too. Here's your spaghetti plots. You can see where this storm is headed. It's moving north and east. The question is, how far inland does it go once it moves into the Carolinas? This is the latest run of the European from this morning. While we're looking here, you can see fairly dry across areas to the north and west of this, other than some showers across parts of Wisconsin, back into Illinois, into Missouri. But here comes the heavy rain into the Carolinas, North and South Carolina. The wind isn't going to be as big of a deal as the rain, I think, with this. As we head into Monday and Tuesday, we could be dealing with some of this lingering moisture into the northeast, so there could be some impacts along the northeast coast. However, by this point, it's not expected to be really that strong. A lot of the forecast trends again, have been to really keep this thing fairly weak. Here's a look at your maximum wind gust swath, by the way. This takes you all the way through Sunday. I'm going to let this roll just to give you an idea all the way through Monday. So the strongest winds would be right here along the coast, gusting 40 to 50, inland 20 to 30. Not a huge wind maker. I have Helene flashbacks when I see these maps. I think of, how terrible it looked as that storm moved up into the Carolinas, Tennessee, Kentucky. The wind, nothing like that, clearly. But the rain, pretty impressive, though, across parts of South Carolina, North Carolina. Somebody could see 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, maybe locally higher amounts if we get under one of those bands. Back to the west, we talked about that sinking air. Check it out. Really dry all the way through Tuesday from Georgia, Alabama, East Tennessee, all the way up into Southwest Virginia and up into West Virginia as well, with showers further back to the west. As promised in this video, now let's look at the long-range pattern as we head through the rest of the week. The weather pattern is going to take Chantal off to the north and east. That's just what we're looking at here. Strong jet stream swinging through the northern U.S. just like this. Decent ridge starting to develop off of the east coast out near Bermuda in the upper levels. So your steering patterns, while they are weak, that's also helping our tropical storm form today. We'll be driving this system off to the north and east just because of what we're looking at here. So here we go into Monday. We also have an upper low off the west coast, still bringing some moisture into the west here. A ridge starts to develop, though, across the southwest, and it could get really hot by the end of the week. So now we're looking at Thursday as we take a look at the long-range pattern. In the upper levels, jet stream starts to split just a little bit here across the northern U.S., so I think that keeps us a little bit active here into the Great Lakes, also into the northeast, with it becoming quite hot across the far southwest with this upper high really starting to develop, and that's just in response to the hot air. Right, your atmosphere is getting thicker and thicker as it gets warmer and warmer. It expands. So that's what we're looking at. One thing to note, we don't talk about Alaska a lot, but look at this cooler than average weather here. Okay, so we're going from actually, check it out, pretty hot weather. Places like Barrow, up along the North Slope, it's been really warm, but it's going to get pretty doggone cold heading into Thursday and Friday. At least that's how it looks. Now, my question is, what does that mean for the winter? I mean, guys, it's July 5th. I have no earthly idea, but I can tell you, check that out. That's some pretty cold air up around the North Pole right now swinging in, and it's impacting parts of Alaska and the Northwest Territories. Now, let's continue to look at the lower 48 here. That ridge across the west, at least the operational run of the European keeps it here and parks it here all the way through next week. One thing that could be a little bit of, I guess, messing things up, it looked like it was going to get pretty hot across the east, 4, 5, 6 days ago. That's one of these things about these operational runs. You can't trust them exactly. Now you've got this weird upper low showing up, and your high off the east coast is getting really, really strong. So I'm going to switch views here. Look at the northern hemisphere. We're looking down from the North Pole. This high is getting pretty strong. So my question is, does it influence things here where you get more troughiness here, maybe a little more unsettled weather in the east just because of that? Maybe, but it could also try to shift a little bit further to the west, and then that gets things hot. So we're looking really far out, July 19th to July 5th. Let's wait and see. Here's where things are for sure today, looking really busy across parts of Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota. And by the way, if you're just joining the video, we talked about Chantal forming. We talked about the long range just now. You missed it, so you can back it up, take it from the beginning. But let's talk about the severe weather. We'll get into the details for today. Again, across these areas, we'll see some strong storms as far south as maybe Texas and north and east, all the way up into the Great Lakes. Strong damaging winds, some hail possible. If you look at the tornado outlook, not a huge tornado day, but there could be a few across Wyoming, also Montana, and parts of South Dakota. Let's go into tomorrow. Our storm threat shifts a little bit further to the south. Also, look into Maine, too. There could be a few stray strong storms here as well. And I didn't go to the day 3 outlook, so let's do that. Day 3, things don't move a lot. We're still keeping the storm pattern here, and also there could be some stronger storms into the northeast as we head into Monday. Future radar as we take it through Saturday. Strong storms, again, possible as our front drops off to the east. So big rain possible from Wisconsin down into Iowa, up into Michigan. And then we are going to be, unfortunately, dealing with the possibility of some more rain across Texas today. All right, so it doesn't look nearly as strong, but unfortunately, check that out. Not good news. More rain falling in areas where we do not need it. The parts of the hill country along and east of I-35. We've got flood watches out here into Texas. So terrible, devastating weather coming out of that area. And unfortunately, the chance of some rain still there. All right, as we move toward Monday, more showers and storms pushing a little bit further to the east. Here's a look at your temperatures today. Highs somewhere, if you can get some sunshine, I think, you're well into the 90s, but the relief would be the showers that we will likely see. All right, let's go further to the east and the north. We're up into the Great Lakes for today. There come the storms as we move into the morning hours toward the afternoon. They'll really start to blossom up heading toward the afternoon and evening. So central Wisconsin back into eastern Iowa. Watch out for these storms. They could really pulse up with some hail damaging winds. Those will likely weaken late tonight, but there could be a few rumbles of thunder approaching Chicago. But by midnight, 1, 2 a.m., these things start to weaken, and they will really start to fall apart as they move toward Michigan. And we're entering the time of day where it's much more stable, too. Heading into tomorrow, we'll see more showers fire up along our front. So from just north of Indianapolis up to Detroit, further south into southern Illinois, southern Indiana, more showers on the way here too. And we're starting to see the influence of Chantal just on the southern side of this particular map. High temperatures today, relatively warm. If you can keep the sunshine out, again, back to the west where we get the showers, we're cooling back into the 70s. But look, 80s and 90s all across the Ohio Valley. Up into Michigan, we're pushing very close to 90 for Detroit as well. We've looked at Chantal earlier, but let's look at the future radar and the rest of the southeast. Look at the rain moving in, and the feeder bands will start to feel that impact here across the southeast into South Carolina. So from Charleston up to Myrtle Beach, Murrells Inlet, North Myrtle Beach, Cherry Grove, all the way up. I mean, even Wilmington, we're going to feel some impacts from this as we get that onshore flow here with some heavy rain. Offshore flow just to the south, so Brunswick down to Jacksonville, winds blowing offshore, and it's well north of Jacksonville and Brunswick by this point anyway, and Savannah. Everything moving north into South Carolina, and then heavy rain. Check this out. This is the 3K NAM, bringing that into the Piedmont. I think you got to watch this, right? So it's the heavy rain problem here into parts of North Carolina, so the Piedmont. And now one has to wonder, okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. You've got your Blue Ridge Mountains just like this, right? So pretty decent rise in elevation. If you can get some upslope flow here, right? the problem could be some flooding. I think you got to watch that as well, regardless of how strong this storm gets into parts of Virginia and North Carolina. Just throwing that out there. High temperatures today. Warm, hot. Cooler along the coast where we're just dealing with the clouds and the rain. The tropical feel is on, but get away from the coast. A lot of sinking air. Temperatures well into the 80s and 90s. Let's go further to the north and east. We'll zoom in here a little bit because by tonight, also into really even this afternoon, some showers move into parts of Maine, but there could be a few strong storms further to the north. Heading into tomorrow, though, more rain moving out of Canada, and these storms could get strong heading into Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, dropping south into upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, also into Maine. Some damaging winds possible with these. Timestamp is above my head, things calming down some, but we'll have this front hanging out here. I think the chances for more storms exist maybe a little bit further south as we head now into Monday. And a look at your temperatures here. While we've been cool starting today, some areas, look at this, into the mountains starting out on Saturday today into the 40s, and we'll probably only get up into the upper 70s and 80s. So if you want some relief from the heat, go to the northeast. It's not going to last super long. In fact, tomorrow will be much warmer in this area too, and I think that's one of the reasons we're going to have a problem with some severe weather. Across the west, we've seen the monsoon back off a little bit across parts of Arizona, but that upper low trying to bring some more moisture in. The monsoon still keeping showers around. This is taking us through Tuesday, also into Wednesday. Things do start to dry out as that upper high starts to build overhead across the far southwest. And a look at your temperatures today, typically hot, and it's going to be hot again across the deserts, well into the 100s. A little bit cooler up to the north for places like Boise, also eastern Oregon and Washington. Instead of the 90s, we're back into the 70s and 80s here. So much cooler. Even Salt Lake City back into the 80s as well. All right, that's a quick update of what's going on around the country. Again, if you've missed the beginning of the video, if you're watching it live, you can take it back from the beginning. We've talked about Chantal. We'll continue to watch this, and I appreciate all of you subscribers and everybody coming back for watching. Hope you have a great day. See ya.